10 things you will regret doing to your hair. Let's get into it. My name is Helen. Welcome to my channel. And listen, if you're wondering if I'm any kind of hairstyling expert, if I'm a hairdresser, a dermatologist, no, absolutely not. This is YouTube. In all seriousness, though, I have had a channel here about hair loss and testing hair products, and I hear from a lot of women. I get a lot of comments, okay, about things that women regret doing to their hair, and I am personally guilty of all of these. So if you would like to join me in this walk of shame regarding things we've done to our hair and shouldn't have done and have sorely regretted, all you gotta do is stay tuned because I'm gonna take you through them. We're gonna start with some of the obvious ones and then we're gonna go to some of the culturally sort of inflected ones toward the end. We'll talk about that, but what I wanna know from you down in the comments at some point in this video, hopefully watch all of these and let me know once you've seen them what I have missed. So if there's something you've done that you really regret to your hair and you could not take it back and it devastated you for whatever reason, let me know down below because I'm sure we would like to share this particular pain with each other. So let's get right into it. Number 1, dyeing your hair with home dye. That means dyeing your hair at home, DIY, hair dye, etc. and so forth. And I know there's gonna be lots of you who are gonna be like, but Helen, I dye my hair all the time and it looks great. I'm really not saying it cannot be done successfully, especially if you're like me and you have pretty dark hair and maybe you're just trying to cover the grays. I have lots of friends and family members who just dye their own hair and it works out great. But then for everyone that says it works out great, there are many, many horror stories out there. A lot of times it seems to be with the lighter color hair. If you're trying to cover up, like say if you've already processed your hair and then you're trying to use home dye, it can take unevenly or just not be the color that you wanted. So I would say in terms of regret, this is a pretty basic one. We've all done it, I think, at some point or another, and it leads, so that's my first one. It leads into number 2, which is bleaching your hair. These are kind of a little bit together, right? These are things that we try and do at home. So bleaching your hair at home, big no-no. I, of course, being someone who grew up in the 80s and 90s, have experimented with Sun-In. So here, if you hear nothing else, hear this, do not use Sun-In. Don't do it, okay? It makes your hair orange if you have dark hair like mine. Listen, if you're already blonde, I don't know, maybe it makes your hair look great. I suspect not though. I suspect you should just stay away from Sun-In and leave this to the professionals. I'm 100% not here to shame anybody for doing any of these things. I have done pretty much all of these. And listen, we're all trying to get to our best hair day, right? And the way we get there is any way we can very often, but we're so lucky right now to live in an age of information, right? So before you do any of these things, maybe like really research it or like maybe don't do them. Talk to your hairstylist about it first. With that said, home perms, that's the next one I wanted to mention. That's number 3. And did you even grow up in the 90s and 80s if you didn't try a home perm? Because I know I did, and no. Leave this one to the pros. Now, I don't think people do home perms as much as they used to do, but when I was coming up as a kid, like when I was in grade school, pretty much I think everybody tried a home perm and pretty much all of us looked basically like poodles. So if you can skip that sort of bad moment, that will be good. And the other thing about it is once you have a home perm, you kind of got to wait for it to grow out unless you want to damage your hair further. So if you want curly hair, leave that one to the pros. I think a good perm is probably pretty expensive, possibly really worth it though, because listen, it is a transformational look. Where else can you go from really straight hair to like a bouncy, nice curl? You almost can't get that look with a curling iron. So if you want to do it, just pay up and find out who does a really good job in your area. Don't trust just anybody on a home perm, or a perm I should say. The 4th hair regret, and that is one I think most of you out there have felt. You've done this before, and I'd say this probably goes about any kind of hairstyle. If you already have short hair, you might have done this as well. And that is cutting off too much hair and you're not ready for it. And you know when this tends to happen? After something traumatic happens to you. And you know when that usually is? After a breakup. Who hasn't had the experience of thinking, oh my gosh, I just want to go in and come out a whole new me, and then you go from like hair this long to like a short bob or something kind of out there. It never ends well. Okay, it rarely ends well. I have heard so many people complain about this. I have done this before, not necessarily after a breakup, but just something happens that makes you kind of shaken up and then you just want a brand new look. You're not allowed to do it, okay? I'm telling you right now, you cannot, do not do this. You may regret it. This is what you need to do, okay? Take it from me. Have yourself a cooling off period. You just got out of a breakup, Great. Something else really bad happened to you? I'm sorry to hear that. You are not allowed to cut your hair right now. Take those pictures, save them in your phone, look on Pinterest, fantasize about pixie cuts and bobs and everything else. Don't go and do it yet. Give yourself 6 weeks, then rethink it, okay? If you're still feeling upset and you think that this is the key to turning things around, maybe try it, but don't say I didn't warn you, okay? Because very likely you're not gonna be happy. The fifth thing you may regret is getting a haircut with too many layers in it. And ho ho ho, I feel like many of us have been there. I once went to a hairstylist who just chopped my hair to the Tweety Bird level, okay? Every strand seemed to be a different length, and let me tell you, generally speaking, considering the sort of beauty norms at the moment, it is not generally a good look. It can look very edgy, so if you're into like a real edgy kind of rock and roll look, you might like having tons and tons of different layers. Mostly speaking though, it can be kind of unmanageable and kind of not the best looking. A lot of people ask for long layers. That's a pretty typical order, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's pretty universally flattering. It's just a bit of a dated look, and it's kind of hard to maintain. If you're into a wash and go and it sits perfectly, great, but most of us are not able to wash and go with a really nice polished look. So just warning you, maybe too many layers. I mean, Rachel herself from Friends said she hated that hairstyle, and that hairstyle is notorious for having lots of layers, and she said it looks like it should have had legs, and she's right. Looking back, it kind of had a spidery look to it, right? So be warned. That's all I have to say about that. So this next one, number 6, is one that I have a lot of experience in, and that is trying too many products at once. And yeah, girl knows what that's all about, because I test things, and I just wrecked my hair over the winter. It is summer. It is still not recovered, although I did finally go and get myself a trim. You guys know I was threatening a lob, but I didn't end up doing it. I just got the dead ends snipped off, but the top is just, it's in recovery. So that's why I'm making videos like this instead of testing products right now. Listen, if you just keep testing products without giving each of them enough time to really work, that is not always the best for your hair. Although I will say, on the converse, something to keep in mind is sometimes you test it and you know pretty much right away it's not great for your hair. In that case, I would say if you can return it, because if it's drying the first time, it's not gonna get better for the most part, right? But don't go through so many products. You don't need to cycle through so many different things. Try, and I know you can do research through my channel and other places to just find something that is suitable and gentle to your hair, and try and stick with it. And then if you're finding it's not working, how long? I don't know. Give things like maybe a shampoo conditioner combo. If it seems to be like just okay, but maybe is not perfect, well, just give that a month. I wouldn't say don't switch every, week or anything like that. Sometimes you just don't know what's what when you do that. It's just too many changes to your hair over too short of a period. So go with something trusted, like a trusted shampoo. Maybe your hairstylist recommends you, or maybe you've seen my reviews here, or other people's reviews, or you just have heard that it's a really popular product. Go with something trusted and just try it for a little while. Don't be cycling through products all the time. That tends to just, I find, confuse you, right? Maybe more than anything, and sometimes even damage your hair, which sucks. Okay, my battery died. I had to power it up, and I moved over a little bit. You guys don't mind, do you? The next thing that I want to tell you about, just let me get a bit comfortable here, because let's settle in for this one, is Pixie Cuts. I got a Pixie Cut, and man, did I didn't get a Pixie Cut. It came upon me. The Pixie Cut came upon me. And I won't go into all of that now, but you can see it here on my channel. In fact, some of my first videos feature me in a Pixie Cut, and boy, did I ever hate that hair. I thought it looked cute, and let me tell you, if you do get a Pixie Cut, you will get more compliments on your hair than you have ever had in your life. People, mostly from women, but people that have never even said anything about your appearance before will pop up to tell you that they love your hair so much. And here's the thing, now that I've said this, I know that some Pixie Cut fanatics will come for me, because even on that video, I had to delete comments from the mean Pixie Cut girls out there, because don't ever criticize a Pixie Cut, because people who have them love them. It is like criticizing their pet or something like that. They go crazy, but it's a great look, don't get me wrong. And if you want to do it, just be warned, you may regret it. And the reason you may regret it is for a few reasons. I mean, it might not suit you, but chances are you thought about it and it is gonna actually look good. The problem is the maintenance. You have to get a lot of haircuts. And the other problem is if you want to grow it out, it looks terrible for a long time. You can track what I've looked like trying to grow out a Pixie Cut. It's not good. It's not a good look. It will look ugly for, in my case, years, right? So that is the reason that I am anti-Pixie Cut. unless you want to keep that style forever. But if you're kind of not sure and you just want to play around with it, that's fine. Just keep in mind that you might be working at getting your hair back for years. Know that, and don't come for me in the comments. Another thing that you could regret, and I know this because I hear about it nearly every day here, and it's something that I specialize in on this channel, and that is not doing something about hair loss when you start to notice it. The time to deal with hair loss issues, and if you suspect hair loss, is now. Don't wait for a year and then be like, oh, maybe I should try this or that, seeing my doctor about it. If you notice it now, you know, listen, we do have hormonal fluctuations that make us lose hair, and there's certain times of the year, and I've talked about that here, where you lose more hair than other times. But if it's something that's bothering you, it's on your mind now, maybe go and get your blood tested and get a blood panel done by your doctor, or get referred to a specialist. But the time to start thinking about it is as early as you can, because then you have the best chance of saving the hair that you do have, if you can. Wouldn't you rather just move on it now? Because you don't want to be a year from now and be like, I should have done something a year ago, right? Do it today. Hair regret number 9, and that is not spending the time and the money to get your hair done properly from a professional for a big event in your life. Like maybe you are getting married, maybe you are the mother of the bride, maybe you are a bridesmaid. If you're going to be in photographs and there's going to be money spent like on professional photography, I strongly believe you should spend the time, even if you have a shorter hairstyle, even if you're pretty good at doing your hair, maybe go to a professional and spend that extra money getting your hair done, because it just like, you almost never can get your hair done as well as someone else is going to do it. Certainly if you're watching this channel and you're like me, I'm okay at doing my hair, but I will never match an amazing blowout from someone who actually does this all the time. My job is not doing hair. There's people that have devoted their life to it, and they have years and years and years of experience, and it's just gonna look amazing. You don't wanna look at your photos and regret them, right? So spend that little bit of extra money, whether it's gonna be a blowout or just get it professionally styled. Treat yourself. Treat yourself to having your hair done nicely for photographs that you will look back upon. So this is the last one, and I'm gonna speak from my own experience, and this is the culturally sort of inflected one that I had mentioned earliest on, and that is not accepting your hair how it is. And this can happen for a variety of different reasons, but the thing to remember is that what is considered beautiful hair is very much to do with the beauty standard of right now. Because I can tell you, as someone who's lived through the 80s, the standard for beautiful hair in the 80s was different than it is now. And in the 70s, it was also different from how it is now. Humans have a variety of different hair types and hair textures. They are all beautiful. But there are different hair standards right now, and sometimes we spend our lives fighting against it, right? I, for example, have wavy hair. No one in my family really has hair as wavy as mine, because they don't. They have mostly very straight hair. And that's because I am half Asian. And my hair will never look that straight unless I do a ton of things to it and I damage it, and I get like, I straighten it every day, and I'm not willing to do that. And it took me a long time to understand that I have wavy hair, and I should just accept that and kind of try and work with it as best I can. And so listen, everyone's got their own sort of thing about that, and their hang-ups and how they want their hair to look. And if they have curly hair, they want straight hair, and that's how women are, right? And if you have straight hair, you want curly or wavy hair. And you can go to a different country, and then the beauty standards there are totally different, and then your wrong hair in your country is now right in that country, right? So all I have to say is just try and be a bit more accepting of the hair that you have, because when you're constantly fighting against it, you damage it, and you can do things that you regret to your hair, and that can be a whole panoply of things. I won't go through them all there, but I think we've all done something to our hair trying to get a different look than the hair that we were given. And so be kind to yourself. I guess that is the underlying message in all of this. So everybody, I hope that this will prevent you from making some hair mistakes, or maybe you've already made them and you just wanted to take this walk with me and relive all the bad things we've done to our hair through the years. But either way, I thank you so much for spending your time with me here. Be sure to like and subscribe. That really helps me out, and we will see you soon on the next video.